Kinda looks like we're live, but I'm also lagging like mad. Let's get rid of this. Now I look a little better. I think we're okay. I'm waiting for my stream to catch up. Any second now. Oh, look at that. Butter smooth. So I think I'm okay with my upload speed. I don't want to like saturate the internet connection. I think I'm okay right now. Let me just check and make sure. So, I see I already have one person watching. Hello, one person. I'm down in the basement right now, a little bit different from where I usually am. In fact, I don't know if I've done a live stream since I was at my apartment, so it's been a while. A lot has changed. Trying to ask upstairs if the internet's still okay. I think it's okay, but just gotta be sure. Whatever, we'll turn up the sound. Alright, it says it's good, so looks like we're okay. Yeah. So, nothing really in particular to talk about, just kind of chilling out, having a relax and stuff. The other day I tried to stream and I played some... I was actually on Twitch, I wasn't on YouTube. I played some BeamNG and I got like 2 viewers, which was cool, but I just don't know what to say when I'm playing games, you know. I'm not a Twitch streamer by any means. I'm more of a nerd who likes to talk about nerd stuff, so that's why I'm here. Having some wonderful tea, by the way. I don't know what it is, but it's good. So I got a couple things that I want to just talk about. Nothing too fancy. But I'm going to wait till a couple more people get in here, and then we can start chatting. You'll also have to tell me, whoever comes in here, of course if you're watching it, as recording won't do you much good, but tell me how the sound is. I tried to filter out the background noise of the furnace going, so we'll see, but I think it'll be okay. It might be a little bit loud because, I mean, you can't really see, but right outside that doorway, a foot outside there is the furnace, and it just kicked on. But yeah, if you're in here, let me know how it is. Should be alright. Somebody says I sound great! Exclamation mark, so I must sound really great. Welcome to the live stream, Steven Summers. Now, if you guys see anything in the background you want me to talk about, and there is a lot, there's also a lot over here, but you can't really see it, you know, let me know. I'll talk about it. I got 3 hours to kill, so let me know. I sound great, and apparently I look great too. Thank you. It's the quarter zip. That's what makes me look great. I'm the first person to say your name right? How do people normally say it? Sommers? Because that's how it's spelled? I know that's not usually how you say it, but that is grammatically, I guess, how you should say it. This mug, by the way, is probably the most awesome mug in the world. And it's true. Corgi bots do drive me nuts. So I've been shopping on Shop Goodwill recently. It's fucking dangerous. There's a lot of stuff there, and it's all really fairly priced, and you can find some pretty uncommon things. So something I bought recently, actually just came in the mail today, came in a really big box. You kind of see it right there, this one with the white packaging material on top of it. Pretty big box. I didn't expect it to be that big, and here's what I bought. This is 1 out of 4 pairs of Apple speakers. I think they go with an iMac G4, or some of the PowerMac G4 workstations as well. I didn't realize how freaking big these things were. I don't know what I can compare them to. I just happen to have hard drive platters here. I thought it was about that big, but it's not a good comparison, but they're freaking huge. And they're heavy too. They got a lot of weight to them. So I got 4 pairs of these, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with them, but they're just really freaking cool, and I've never owned them. You can use them as eyes or something. I haven't tested them. I might, maybe on live stream I got the PowerMac G4. I don't think an iMac G3 can use these, but I got a G4 Sawtooth, I think. It doesn't have mirror drive doors, and it's not the first one. It's the middle one. I'll have to check. Make an octaphonic system? I could, but of course they do use that, and I didn't know this when I bought them. They use that small Apple speaker connector, so they can be powered from the motherboard. But that would be freaking cool. Yeah, I'll probably end up doing that at some point. I'm actually really interested to see how these sound. I don't think they can be put into a regular headphone jack, partially because they have to be powered, and also this is, was it a 1.8 mil instead of a 3.5 mil headphone jack? Don't know. But we'll try it later. And I know I already asked this, but we got a couple more people in here. How is the sound? Do you hear any of the furnace going in the background? You shouldn't, but I want to make sure. There was a device called the iFire that converted the speakers to a 3.5 mil jack, as well as powered them. However, iFire is kind of rare. I have heard of that, and that actually reminds me. So right now, I'll show you this first, if I can, without breaking anything. I'm currently using one of these ADC to DVI adapters, which I know it kind of does a similar thing. It takes your ADC monitor, you plug it in there, you plug power into it, and then you plug, oh, this is power, and then, can't get it in frame, it's not quite long enough, plug the DVI cable into the back of the computer, and you can use a powered Apple display with a regular computer. So that's what I'm doing now. I've got an Apple Cinema HD, or Cinema Display HD. It's not the one that's aluminum. It's not the aluminum chassis one. It's the plastic one. But I think it's the biggest of the like polycarbonate plastic ones. And it runs at 1920 by 1200, which is freaking amazeballs. Of course, with all Apple displays, even though this one's pretty old and it's an LCD and it's getting a little bit worn out, the colors on it are great. They're very vibrant, and it just looks really good in general. So I'm using that right now, and I quite like it, if I do say so myself. The only thing I don't like is that you can't adjust the brightness. Brightness is all done in software in Mac OS, and if you have it connected to a Windows 7 machine, there's nothing you can do. Even if you press the button lights up. It looks like it's doing something, but nothing shows up on the screen. Maybe there's a driver, but I'm not too terribly concerned about that. It works, and it looks good, and it's bigger than the 15-inch monitor I had before. While we're talking about Apple speakers, yeah, it's buried back there, but I think I made a video about it a while ago. I've got an iSub. It's It's kind of like those Harman Kardon sound sticks with the external subwoofer that's this huge cylindrical plastic thing for a subwoofer. And but it's only the sub. It's no speakers like these I have here. It's just the subwoofer. And it's connected through USB. So you connect it into an iMac G3. I think a G3 is the only thing you can actually connect it to and have it work. But I do have one of those, and it kicks ass. Now, I'll be honest, part of the reason why I even went for these Apple speakers, partially because I do have an iMac G4 that I've never hooked up speakers to because I didn't have any. And also, I recently came across, and I might show this later on, but you can see it right... Where's my hand going? Right there. That is a Snow White iMac G3, or a Snow iMac G3, whatever they call it. I traded a local computer guy, he actually runs a shop near me, traded him a bunch of stuff, to be honest, but a bunch of things, and then he just gave me that, because he's like, it's taking up space, don't need it anymore, it's all yours. So that's a 600 megahertz, it's got a gig of RAM. The only thing that's really wrong with it is that the speakers are both blown completely out. One of them is disintegrating, which is normal. I mean, that's just what happens with them. But the other one, I started to play some music through it, and the speaker actually was rotted so badly that it severed all of the foam on the speaker. It actually popped out of the speaker. Like it was just hanging on by a little piece of wire. I've never seen that happen before. That was completely freaking bizarre. That was funny though. So, I've been looking for some speakers, but all of them seem to be, you know, just due to age. They're just, I'm afraid they're all going to be rotted out. So I got a pair of these, not really thinking about the fact that I can't hook them up easily, but it is what it is. Turned in right after you said 600 megahertz. Yes, it's about the iMac that is back here. It's a white iMac. And I didn't know just how uncommon these iMacs are, or really how much they fetch on eBay. You can get a good $150 for one in good shape, and this one is in good shape. As I said, the only thing that's wrong with it are the speakers, and nothing else, really. Everything else works really well. The optical drive could use some work. The one that I have in it now is a spare that I had. The one that originally came with is dead. And it takes in CDs, it reads CDs, and it kind of spits out CDs, but it doesn't do it very well. It usually pops it out just enough that I can grab onto it with the tips of my fingers and pull it out. But it tries, but it can't eject it anymore, unfortunately. Somebody says the iMac G3s in Snow White are very uncommon. IMNC, I haven't heard from him in a long time. He had one, and I actually remember him getting one of those. It came in the mail, and I think it came, like, just destroyed. Not bad, but the... what am I thinking of? The opaque plastic in the front of it was just all busted up, and it looked really sad. But yeah, I got very lucky with this one. That same guy, you know, this guy has come through for me a lot. He's also given me that... Can't control my hand while looking at it backwards on the computer screen. That up there is a dual 2.7 gigahertz G5. He had that one kicking around. I've maxed it out to 8 gigs of RAM. I think the second most powerful video card that thing can take has a hard drive in it, 500 gig drive. It's quite a performer, and it's the only PowerPC system I've ever used that, with the exception of YouTube, and really that's the only exception, with that, the exception of YouTube, it runs just as good as any new machine that I've used. It's a little slower to start up because it's a hard drive, but if I put an SSD in that thing, holy hell, like, it's properly fast. Now, I've used a lot of G5s. I had a 1.8 at one point. It was a single CPU. A dual 2.0. Had that for a long time. And, you know, they're fast, but compared to a standard computer now, they're kind of shitty, really. And this thing is... I don't think I've ever actually been, like, blown away by how fast a computer is, especially an old one. But that was properly surprising. So I got one of those as well. Luckily, it's in great shape. The case is not dinged up in any way. Well, that's a lie. It's got a couple scratches on it, but it's not bent. You can actually put the side panel on, take it off. Works great. No leaks, and it remembers... it's got a good clock battery, and it detects all slots of RAM, which is something my Dual 2.0 did not do. Somebody says, I don't remember if you remember me from a past live stream. I do, vaguely. But you were building a Pentium 4? Something, it says maining, but I don't know what that means. You were making a Pentium 4 build? I vaguely remember that. The fastest iMac G3 I've ever had is a 600 megahertz graphite. I've been looking for one of those. I actually wanted one of those more than the Snow. I grew up using the graphite G3s a lot, and apart from the nostalgia, they just look great. I love the graphite stuff. A lot of the PowerMac G4, the mirror drive door one, I like how that one looks a lot. And I've been looking around for a graphite G3, but I don't need it, so I don't really want to pay a lot for it. I'm kind of waiting for one to fall into my lap like this Snow one did. And also, apparently the 700 models are rare. Yes. Apparently very. Maybe, was it the Flower Power G3 that came in 700? And maybe also an Indigo, something like that. It was, or the Dalmatian. It was one of the differently colored ones. They had the Snow, which was pretty uncommon. I think there was a Sage, and then the Dalmatian and Flower Power. Those were the faster ones. Could be wrong, but yeah, I've wanted one of those, but I've come to the conclusion I'm probably never going to find one, and if I do, I'm going to have to pay for it, and I don't need it enough. I'm perfectly happy with the 600. That's more than enough, more than I ever need. Have you ever had or have a PowerBook G4 12-inch? Let me go grab that for you. I do, in fact. Give me a minute. I do have a PowerBook G4 12-inch. I also have the 15 and the 17. I've got all the G4s. This one's a little bit beat up. It's not in the greatest of shape, but it's pretty good. This is the 1.5 gigahertz, so I think it's the second fastest. Again, maybe wrong. I haven't really studied this kind of stuff in a while, but yeah, 1.5 gigahertz, a gig and a quarter of RAM, maybe? 60 gig hard drive? I haven't started it up in so long, I honestly don't remember. You know what? I'm interested. Let's start this up. Why the hell not? Let me read some comments before I do that here. Oh, I actually missed a lot of comments. That's kind of interesting. Sorry if that was loud. That was my keyboard. You had a Pentium 4 as a main machine. Okay, I remember that. You were using Windows 10 on it, I think. And now you own a Core i5 Optiplex. Optiplexes are freaking great. They are great machines, great performers, really cheap. I love those. An iMac G3 falling in your lap would be painful. Yes, a PowerMac G5 would be a lot more painful. That thing probably weighs about 50 pounds. I guess maybe an eMac then would be a little more painful in terms of weight. eMacs are so freaking heavy. God damn. Jonathan paid $30 for his 600 megahertz graphite. Came with a keyboard, Pro Mouse, boxed copy of Panther. That's an excellent deal. Unfortunately, and I have it here, I broke my Pro keyboard. I had it attached to some PC. I moved my bench over a little bit, and it was still attached to that PC. Fell on the floor and, like, snapped in half. This whole top part broke off. I think the foot broke a little bit, and the cable ripped out, so I ended up just chopping the cable off, and I'm probably going to save it for parts, maybe for keys, sell the keys online, I don't know. But yeah, I was pretty pissed about that. This was, I think, my only Pro keyboard, and I really like it. I like it a lot more than the, what are they, the green and white, and all the ones like that. I don't care how those feel. These I like a lot, but now I don't have one. That sucks. Okay, I'm glad you answered that right after. An iMac G3 graphite on display. I don't know how your school is about that kind of thing. My school doesn't. I don't know. It's a little bit of a deep topic for me to get into if I really wanted to get into it. But if they have it on display and nobody really looks at it or anything, go up and ask and say, you know what, I really like this stuff. I'm not going to sell it or anything. I'm actually going to keep it. I'm going to use it. And who knows? Either they will or they'll just say, hell no. That's my experience. If you ask, maybe. That's the only way you're going to know. Someone says, as I stand up, I realize he's tall enough to almost hit his head in the ceiling. I'm actually 5'11". The ceiling is exactly 6 feet tall. This is in the basement, so... But yeah, I almost touch the ceiling. Actually, it gets a little bit... Where does it get higher? Oh, it gets higher... Well, you can't see it off to the side here. It's the corner of the room. It gets a little bit higher up there, because that's where the side of the house is. So I hit my head up there if I were to walk over there. Yeah, I mean, if you see any old computer crap, in general, people just don't care. If you get it out of their way, they don't have to deal with it anymore, they're probably just going to give it to you. That's been my experience. That was what happened with that iMac G3. I went into the shop, the guy's like, I've had this for a long time. It's kind of in the way, don't really want it. Do you want it? And I fainted first, and then got back up and came to and said, yes, I would love it. 1.5 is the fastest, 1.33 is next in line, referring to the iBook G4 or PowerBook G4 CPUs. So yeah, that would be one of the faster PowerBooks. I find it interesting that my 17 and 15 inches are actually smaller or slower than the 12-inch. I don't have the high-res 17-inch. I've got just the regular 1440 by 900 display. And they've got a 1/4 gig of RAM built in, just like some of the G4 Mac Minis as well, if I remember correctly. Now it's a wireless Pro keyboard. You know what? If the plastic on it wasn't broken, that would be a cool project. Get some kind of wireless adapter, maybe just kind of hack one out of an old wireless keyboard, get that to work. That would be pretty sweet. Don't know if it'd work, but it's better than tossing it, right? You've got a Graphite Pro keyboard you could send my way, depending on cost. I will keep that in mind. So, if you have been around the channel for a long time, you'll know that the stuff behind me is, I'd say, about half of the stuff that I own. The other half is still at my parents' house. Now, I've been going through, you can see the tripod over there. I've been going through and taking pictures of things, selling things, and just getting them out of the way because I don't need them. And as I sell stuff and get it out of the way, the things I want to keep permanently, or for the time being, are coming here from my parents' house. So I'm actually going there on Saturday to grab some things, and I don't recall because I haven't looked in a while, but I think I do have another graphite keyboard. I know I just said I only have one, but I think I might have another one. So I'll keep that in mind, thank you. But if I still have one, you can keep yours. Steven has a white Apple keyboard minus the USB connector. Did you break it? Did you break it? I broke one of mine accidentally. I've also got one of the white keyboards as well. I remember that. I have two of them, I think. And I've got, now I have a wired Apple aluminum keyboard. And I've also got the wireless one. The wired one I'm currently using upstairs with my 3D printing Mac. It's a 2011 iMac 21-inch. Got it for free from school along with many other ones that I pretty much gave them away to family and friends because as much as it would have been nice to sell them and get a lot of money for them, because I know I could have, I didn't feel quite right doing that, because the idea with my college giving away stuff is that officially it's supposed to be recycled, which happens. It recycles into my basement. The idea, if you're going to take it, is that you take it because you need it or because you're going to use it. And sometimes, yes, I sell the stuff because I don't need it. I could use a little money, and I don't feel too bad about it. But all these iMacs, it would have been a huge pain in the ass to ship. Because I know how people on eBay are. They'll get something that you wrapped in 50 layers of bubble wrap, and they'll be like, "Oh, it arrived broken, bro. Give me my money." And then you have to give them your money. And that pisses me off. So I wanted to save myself the trouble of having to deal with that. So I gave my parents one. I actually gave them another one, a 2009 as well, that they have in their workshop. I kept one. I gave one to a friend. I gave 3 to my brother-in-law, one for him, one for his soon-to-be wife, and he gave the other one to somebody else. And I don't know, I gave one to somebody. I don't remember where it went, but yeah, I gave all those away because I'm a nice person. Alright, let's get this PowerBook charger. I actually came across, oh, here you can see the ceiling is I'm in a low spot right now, right here. Got 2 inches to the top of my head. Where did I put it? So I actually came across one of these in the recycling, a yo-yo charger. Now I'll have to check, because this, I seem to remember, these were for iBook G3s maybe? Or PowerBook G3s? I don't remember. I have to check and make sure this is actually compatible with the G4. I don't want to kill it. Let's first make sure it fits. Yes. Ooh, maybe not. Oh, actually that connector's pretty bent, so maybe that will fit. And I can't read the bottom of the G4 very well because it's all rubbed off. This says 24 volt, 1.8 amp. That sounds kind of low. What are you? You are 24 volt, 1.8 amp. So this one must work. All right, we'll try that in a second. You got a 2006 iMac, the power supply blew out, you bought a spare, and ended up, bought a spare with spare parts and sold the spare parts and made 160 bucks. That's what I like doing. I enjoy when that happens. When for example, I bought an iPad, or 2 of them, 2 iPad first generations, got them super cheap. It's kind of a long story, but I ended up swapping parts, sold one of them, made all my money back. And I'll get onto that in just a minute, because I think that's kind of a story you guys might enjoy. Let's see if I can bend this back a little bit. Butter. Now what do I need? I need a Mickey Mouse cord. Yo-yo charger. It's an interesting name. Oh, it's all over here now, isn't it? I rearranged, and of course I can't find anything anymore. You know, as is normal for when I rearrange things. Oh, I know what you guys might be interested in. Let me know if you are. I'll probably get to it anyway, but, you know. I have an Apple IIgs, but it's not just any 2GS. It is the pretty uncommon, I would actually consider it properly rare, Apple IIe to 2GS upgrade. So it's a 2GS that you sent, or it's a 2E you sent into Apple, and they upgraded the internals to that of a 2GS. So what you end up with is an Apple IIgs with a built-in keyboard. And it's really freaking cool. So I'll show you that in a little bit if that's something you guys want to see. I don't think that this power cord works. God damn it. Straighten it out a little bit more. Your most recent tech acquisition is a ProLiant ML350G3. So that's probably got some sort of... I feel like that's a pretty old one. Is that a Pentium 4 based, or is it more in the Core 2 Duo? It's probably a Xeon, but is it a Pentium 4 based Xeon? How old is it? I guess is what I'm asking. I'm not so up to date on my my HP servers. You know what? This power supply might be dead. Well, balls. That sucks. I'm not surprised. I mean, it was in the recycling bin, but I was kind of hoping it would work. She did. Oh well. I'll still keep it around because it's really cool, but I mean, it's not working. Two of my most recent acquisitions would be my Galaxy J3 Emerge, which I think is a phone of some kind, and an Optiplex 790. Those 790s are nice. I've been using one of those at work for a testing machine recently. It's actually one of our lower powered computers, so I decided to just, you know, actually put it to use instead of having it sit in a closet. Yeah. Optiplexes, great machines. So I've never used a yo-yo charger before. I really like this, and I wish more companies still did this, especially Apple, instead of their stupid, you know, wrap it around that that square brick and make the cable all mashed. So it wraps around nicely. And then it's got this little nub on the cable. So when you want to keep it in there, you just click it in. Holy shit, that's the best thing I've ever seen. This is when Apple knew what they were doing. And then they went to garbage. You pick up 12 desktops and 3 servers from a family friend's business. What kind of desktops and servers? I'm kind of interested. Are they old? Like, really old? Or is there, you know, kind of still usable ones? If you guys remember back to some of my tech vlogs in the past, I got a lot of stuff sometimes from school that they were just going to toss.
Thought you were going to stream?
I am.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah. You're alive.
Cool.
What's up?
Nothing. What are you doing?
This. Talking about Apple shit.
To yourself?
No, to 6 people now.
Oh.
I was up to 8 people. Pretty awesome.
Weirdo.
You're the weirdo. Sam. Alright, let's get... that, by the way, was my boyfriend. In case anybody was wondering. God damn it, I can't unplug this cord. He thought I was Twitch streaming, which I don't usually do anymore. When I say anymore, I mean I've only ever done it once, and I didn't like it. So, one of the servers is a dual LGA 1366 with one CPU, the other is 775, 2 Xeon CPUs. Others an old HP Xeon from 2003. Cool. Those are still... The 1366s are still pretty useful. 755, not so much. Depends on what you're going to use it for. You could probably find something pretty cheap that would use less power and be a lot more powerful. That might... I mean, I know they were free, but if you were going to run them full time, you might have to think about something else. See if it would be worth your time to actually buy something and maybe sell off the parts. But yeah, excellent find. I love finding stuff like that. Stuff that's, you know, maybe not necessarily for a company, still really usable, not powerful enough for them, but for a home lab like I've got behind me over here, it's perfect. Prescott Xeon. So a very warm running server. Taken out of service in 2012. Yeah, that makes sense. Very cool find. Alright, well, I'm not going to start this up because my PowerBook chargers are packed away in a box. I mean, they're right there, but I don't want to. I don't want to go get them. They're too far away. I really want to hook these Apple speakers up to something, but I don't want to dig out the G4. They're so cool. They're very Apple. Very 2003 Apple is what they are. Alright, thank you, Steven, for coming. We'll see you in the next live stream or whenever. Have a good night. Have a good day. Have a good whatever. So this iPad, I briefly mentioned it, and I can't really lift it up because it's in pieces that are just kind of loosely assembled. I found an iPad that was being sold for parts on eBay, $20, free shipping, and it was advertised as an iPad first gen, which it is, Wi-Fi only, and 16 gig. So I bought it thinking, you know what? Whatever. I kind of wanted an iPad first gen just to mess around with, so this will be a good starter one because it's cheap. And the issue that it said was that the screen... It's kind of gross. Something on my coffee cup. The screen would flicker on briefly, then not work at all. So I thought that's one of two things. That's either the screen connection has come loose and it just needs to be reseated. I guess it could be three things. The screen itself is faulty, which is kind of unlikely, and the battery is just so dead that it can't even charge up enough to start up. Because you can't run an iPad off just the charger, you have to have a battery in there. So it ended up being the battery. So I ordered a battery, and it worked for a day, and then it stopped, and I could never charge it again. And come to find out, it was actually not the fault of the iPad, it was just a faulty battery, which is weird, but I guess it happens. So anyway, when I started it up that first time, got to play with it for a little while, I found out it's not an iPad with Wi-Fi and 16 gig. It's an iPad 3 with 3G, and it's also a 64 gig, which is amazeballs. That's like, those would probably go for a lot more money, a lot more than 20 bucks with free shipping. So I got another battery on the way, and I'm gonna put that back in there and play with it. I kind of wanted to do something like a car entertainment system, or maybe just a controller for Spotify that hooks into my car. That's always interested me, because I don't have a car that's new enough to have any kind of touchscreen. It's just got a basic stereo. So I might do that. I don't know how well I'm gonna be able to do it on there, because it's an iPad first gen, which means it only takes iOS 5.1.1 or 5.0.1, one of those. So I'm pretty limited in the apps I can get, but I'm pretty sure if I jailbreak it, I can get something that will allow me to either, you know, stream the music right from my phone to there, so I can use iPad as a controller or something. I don't know. We'll find out when I get the new battery what I'm gonna do with it. Are you questioning my use of amazeballs? It's a word. Look it up. Maybe. I don't know if it's a word. Yes, I do still have the 2004 Acura. It's just, I should say just, it's gone over 200,000 miles. It's at 201, almost 202,000 miles now. And it's been relatively problem-free recently. I needed a new battery a couple months ago, just because it was an old battery, but that's really no fault of the car. And I did something else. I had a wheel bearing replaced. I lived with it for 6 months, and it just progressively got really, really freaking loud, and I couldn't hear myself talk in the car, so I went and got that fixed. That was moderately expensive, but not terrible. It was like 200 bucks, I think, with labor, so it wasn't bad at all. The next thing I think I have to do, it's one of two things. It's either tie rods. Now let me preface this by saying I know a little bit about cars, but I don't know everything. I work on computers. I don't work on cars. I know enough to get me by, but that's it. So I think it needs tie rods, but it also might need shocks or struts. Does it use struts? Is that what cars use? I don't know. Either tie rods or the things that make you not crash when you hit a bump. Those things. Because right now, going down the highway at 75 miles an hour, it feels very unstable. It feels like you're getting dragged around by the wind, but very quickly. Not like if you've ever driven and your car's been kind of moved by the wind, it feels like you're kind of resisting against the wind, you're kind of fighting against it. But this, it just feels like I'm driving my grandfather's Crown Vic, or Grand Marquis. It's just kind of like you turn and then the car kind of goes. The front goes and then the back kind of slides over. Maybe a little exaggerated, but it doesn't feel right, and after putting 70,000 miles on the car, I know what it usually feels like, and this is a little bit different. So that might be the next thing I have to do, but I've got to find out what the problem actually is. Speaking of engines, I guess, kind of not an incorrect segue, but I've been given a snowblower. It's a 1972 Jacobson Imperial 26. So it's a 26-inch clearance snowblower, and it's back in the day when they made things good. This thing is a tank. It is amazeballs. That's what it is. It's a really nice snowblower. It needed some work when I got it, but I got it up and running, and it runs almost perfectly now. So, a couple of the problems it had. So let me give you a little backstory, I guess, in case it's of any interest to you. It came from my father-in-law. Not technically in-law because I'm not married, but father-in-law. And he bought it 4 years ago. Actually, more than that. It's been sitting in his garage for 4 years. He bought it a couple years prior because his snowblower at the time had blown up. He bought this thing from a guy who had owned it since 1972. It's the original owner, and he had taken pretty good care of it. It had, I guess, regular oil changes, whatever regular means for a snowblower. And the only thing really wrong with it, just not necessarily a fault, but it's just really rusty. Just surface rust, but it looks pretty ugly. The only thing that I had to do to it was purchase a belt, and that got it up and running. Now, that's the only thing I needed to do, but I did some other things while I was at it. I took the carburetor off, cleaned that out, because it had some old gas in it that was making it run poorly. I took the idler pulley and do you call it a clutch? It's the idler pulley lever. It pushes the pulley in. I don't know if you call that a clutch or not. But I took all that off and straightened everything out, because when I put the belt on, I noticed that the pulley that drives the auger in the front, it was here, and the pulley that comes off of the shaft of the engine was all the way over here. And a little exaggerated, but they were quite off, which kept causing the belt to come off and also caused the belt to wear down, which is why the one that was on it snapped. So I replaced that and, moved everything around, used a hammer, straightened things out, and what do you know? It runs frickin' great. And what else do you know? For the past week, it's been over 50 degrees in the middle of February. So that was nice. But yeah, I love that thing. It's heavy. It just works. There's no plastic shit to break off of it. It's all metal, all great construction, and I might buy a new carburetor for it, because I think it either do that or rebuild it, because the one it has currently is a little bit aged. It doesn't run as well as it should. I mean, you can run it at 3/4 choke, but if you put it no choke, it cuts out. Or would you call that 1/4 choke? I don't know. You can't do it with no choke or else it stalls out. You have to run it with some choke on. But yeah, great machine. 10 out of 10 recommend a 1972 snowblower. It was 70 in New Jersey today, apparently. It was about 65 today, I think. It's crazy. I don't know when it's going to snow, but I think I'm ready for it to snow again. When it's snowing, I don't really like it, but excuse me, I think in February there should be snow on the ground, damn it. Snow. I'm going to put this PowerBook back and then check if my iMac G3 has that speaker output for these speakers, because I don't think it does, but maybe it does, because that made sense. Oh my god, it's really heavy. It's cumbersome. So in case you've never seen it, this is an iMac G3 Snow. It's very white, as the name would imply. This one's in great shape. Got no major marks. There's a little bit of a paint mark on the back, but that'll rub off. And in certain light, I find it kind of interesting. It actually looks gray. Actually, you can kind of tell. So right down here, the bottom plastic, if I can get it in the right light, it's very white. It's an opaque white. This is more of a translucent white, but under these fluorescent lights, at least, it looks like it has a gray tint to it. Oh, man, this thing's really heavy for some reason. I wonder why. So it has a speaker output, but I don't think it's a powered speaker output. Let's find out right meow. No. Actually, now thinking of it, I actually knew that because this is a 1.8 mil, that's a 3.5 mil jack. Yeah. So previously, and actually currently, I own a, what is it? A Bondi Blue iMac, and I just sold my Indigo iMac so that I could take this, because I'm probably going to get rid of the Bondi Blue one as well. I'm going to sell it to somebody, because I only need one iMac G3. As much as I would like to collect one of every color, I don't have enough room for that. So I'm going to keep the best one of any model of computer. So I'll keep the best G4 tower I have, the best iMac G4, the best iMac G3, and so on. I got the dual 2.7 G5, which is almost the best iMac or Power Mac G5. But yeah, I really like the way this one looks. I don't know what the hell I was just saying. I just kind of went on a tangent, but I like this looks, the way this looks compared to all of the more transparent plastic iMacs. This one, you can't really see inside unless you look up close or you look in the top here. It's kind of like an eMac in a way, but it's a little bit darker. I think the Flower Power ones and the other specialty iMacs were like this as well, where they weren't quite see-through, but you could still kind of see through them. I like this thing. It's really neat. Alright, let's dig out the G4 tower, and I haven't booted that up since October, so I don't know if it's going to work, but we're sure as hell going to find out. Oh my god, everything's really heavy right now. That is the wrong way up, dummy. That is not the way I wanted it, though. Alright. So yes, this does have the speaker output. Let's see if I can clean the dust out of there. This thing is really dusty. I don't know if I've ever cleaned it out. Where's my toothbrush? Not my toothbrush, but the toothbrush. Found it. Ah, nice. So if I am correct, this should... Nice. That was a really satisfying click. Alright, so how am I going to do this? Don't really have a good way to show you what's going on. Didn't think this one through. I don't know what to do. Yeah, we'll just set it up on the floor and I'll move the camera or something. Power cord's not long enough. Just plug it in and let it play the bong. Ah, good point, good point. I need a power cord though. I don't have one of those. Who the hell plugged this computer in? God damn it. Alright. These... G4 had some gross dirt all over it. So as I was saying, these are the worst looking speakers out of the 4. So we will see how these sound. And hopefully that will relate to how the other ones will sound. Okay, whatever. Can't move them very far, but here we go. 3, 2, 1. That was underwhelming, but yeah, they work. I don't know what to do now. That was it. I was so excited to try these things out. I tried them, they work. Whatever. I have a video message. Okay. They need the iSub. Can I... Would you happen to know if the iSub requires... Shut up. If the iSub requires macOS 9 to work, or if it needs an iMac G3. It's dependent on one of those, or maybe both of them together. Because I know I tried it on another Mac running Tiger and it didn't work, but I didn't try it on a G4. Do you think that would work? My tea is cold. Damn it. That was so underwhelming. So underwhelming. Well, we'll unplug it instead of nicely shutting it down, because it... I don't know. Why the hell not? So, let's see if I can move this camera around. Now, I apologize if there's any noise, but I'll do my best to make it not noisy. Alright, there we go. So this is, and I also apologize for the shakiness, not much I can do about it. This is an Apple IIgs. Not an Apple IIe, it is in fact the 2GS. And on the bottom there's a sticker that says Apple 2GS Upgrade, and where the 2E sticker would have been. So this is pretty functional. It's not 100% yet because I'm missing some stuff, but we're getting there. Now, importantly, or an important thing to note, is that down there, you see in the back with the red light on it, that is actually a board usually used for arcade games to allow them to display on a regular monitor. Now, this is necessary because the output from the back of the Apple IIgs, I can't bring it around far enough, but it outputs in 15 kilohertz. Where can I put this so that you can see? There we go. That's precarious. Yeah, we'll go with that. So it outputs a 15 kilohertz video signal. Most monitors will not accept anything under 30, and if they do, they're usually not an LCD monitor for one, and if they are an LCD monitor, you pretty much can't find them. They're very uncommon. So you need this board to accept that 15 kilohertz signal and somehow upscale it to a usable frequency that a regular monitor can display. So let's pan up here and I'll go ahead and turn it on. And the lighting is so bad. Damn it. I don't have a good way to do this if you can't tell. But yes, it is an Apple IIgs. I can do I do the menu? Yeah, there we go. Get the control panel. And you can go through it, and it is a regular 2GS. There's nothing that special about it. Nothing that differs from a non-upgraded 2E 2GS. That's a freaking mouthful, isn't it? The only thing I think that is different about it is that on the logic board, I'm going to put the camera in a very inconvenient spot for a minute. On the logic board, there's a spot. I can't get the lid off. Doo-dah, doo-dah. I still can't get the lid off. What the fuck? Got it. We can balance that, right? So there's the inside. As I was saying before I forgot what I was saying, the difference from this and a regular 2GS is that this keyboard connector is populated. And of course it connects to the onboard keyboard. So you got that. Other than that, pretty much just a regular 2GS. Now, the person who had this before me, they did some stuff to it. And I don't know why. If we look over here behind the RAM expansion card, I can put my finger in here, which means that they had cut off this piece of plastic from the other side. Don't know why they did that. Really no idea at all. I mean, the RAM would have fit in there just fine. But unfortunately, this means I can't put the cover on properly. I have to kind of prop it up on the top of here instead of hooking it underneath like you normally would. So that's a little annoying. The other weird thing that they did to it was they spliced a bunch of power connections off the power supply. And I think that this is for a hard drive because it goes to a Molex connector. So you could put a hard drive in here and have it powered directly from the system unit itself. But I'm not sure. And fortunately, I don't have a good way to really do anything with this at all, to be completely honest, because I don't have a hard drive, I don't have a working floppy drive, and I don't have any expansion cards. So the only thing I can do with it is boot it from ADT Pro over the modem port, and that's it. I can't put a floppy disk in it and have it write to it because I don't have a working drive. So I'm really I'm just kind of stuck at this point. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. Not much I can do without a floppy drive or a hard drive. So yeah, that's something you probably won't see very often. An Apple 2E to 2GS. And when I first saw this, let me apologize again for the noise that it might make. Focus. There we go. So when I first saw this in the closet at work, I looked at it briefly and thought, well, maybe I'll come back and get that. And then I was thinking about it. I'm like, that didn't say 2E, but it was a 2E. What the hell is it? I went back and looked and it says 2GS. And I'm just so perplexed. Like, that's not what a 2GS looks like. So I even looked up 2GS online, like pictures of it, to think, am I going crazy? And I think I saw one of these that was an Apple 2E to 2GS. And I looked it up, and I guess the numbers are kind of arbitrary, but people guess that there's only about 5,000 of them ever made. So that makes it a pretty rare Mac. Pretty rare Apple. Not a Mac. Apple. It's cool to have. I like it. Alright, let me put this back so nothing falls. Alright, there we go. Alright, 6 people watching. Hello, 6 people. If there's anything, I think I said that at the beginning, but if there's anything you see in the background you want me to talk about, feel free to let me know. I've got an entire server rack of stuff over here that I can't really show you because the camera doesn't reach, but I can talk about it. I've got a whole bunch of stuff on that middle shelf. I've got stuff over here. I've got stuff on the top shelf. Stuff on my desk. I can't even see the surface of my desk. So ask away if there's something you see that you're interested in. What else do I have to show you? I don't know. I've got a card that I'm not able to find anywhere online. Or I wasn't last night. I don't know, maybe somebody put one up on eBay. But this is, it's a video card. It's a 2 meg video card. Has an S3 chip on it, as well as a TI video chip on it. And it's got a very odd marking on the back. And, well, I'll just show you what it is. It's got like a drawing of a movie ticket. It says Admit 1, number 9 Computer Corp, which Googling isn't very helpful on that one. 9GXE64 Pro, your ticket to ride. Very odd. And I have 2 of these, actually. I don't know what they came out of, or really anything about them other than they're a 2 meg video card from about 94. Not much I can find about number 9 Computer Corp online. There's the side of it, by the way, in case you're interested. If they were popular, maybe back in the 90s, I can't find much out about them online. I did 10 minutes of research. I didn't search very much, but I couldn't find very much. Oh, P. Westlife says number 9 is a brand of video cards from the 90s. Did not know that, but now I know. Number 9 video card, haven't seen that mentioned in years. Okay, so I guess people are familiar. I'm just not informed because I'm a little younger then. But yeah, it's such a it's a really interesting design for like a model and a name. Never seen anything like that before. Were these cards any good? Were they just like another video card that people bought, or was there something special about it? I'd be interested to know. I also find it very just cool, I guess, that on the back, in addition to like their address, stupid camera, in addition to their address and their telephone number, they've got their BBS number, so you could I guess chat with them, I guess would be what you would say. I don't know if that focused or not. Yeah, really cool. The other card that I have, I believe, has what looks like a SCSI connector up here. I'm not entirely sure if that's what it is, because it doesn't say anything, any marking that I understand up here, but it looks like a short 50-pin SCSI, maybe? Not sure. Yeah, cool video card. I got a couple other cool video cards. Are any of you guys in the chat right now interested in ISA video cards and ISA cards in general? Because I've got a whole box, and I've been slowly taking pictures, testing, and listing them on eBay. And there's not much interest. But I know you guys are computer guys, so maybe you're interested in some ISA cards. We can make a deal if you want something. I can tell you what I have. That card, that was weird. I couldn't like read it for a second. That card has what is likely 2 megs of video RAM and uses an S3 chip. Yeah, that's what I found. I looked up the chips on here. Looks like you can expand it to 4 megs with these sockets here. Sockets, is that what you call them? Yeah. Neat. VUS Life says yes, which I think means yes. Let me... Of course, I packed them all... I packed a couple of them up and put them on eBay. Let me drop a couple links in the chat to some of the really cool ones that are either just kind of oddballs or I think they're uncommon because I've never heard of them. There's one that is called VGA by Boca, B-O-C-A. Boca was a company that was founded in like 1982 in California, and I don't remember anything else about it. But there is very, very, very little to find online about that video card. Yeah, there we go. Copy link address. There's the link. Will it let me put links in there? Yes, it does. Very nice. So there's that one. I think that's a pretty cool one. It actually works. And where was that other... What was it? I can't seem to find the one that I was looking for. I don't know. I'll pull out some other ones in a minute to show you ones that are kind of interesting. How do I get to an eBay page? I should know this. Alright, so if you guys are interested, there's my eBay page. You can just go there and look at everything that's on there. Ace of cards, all of them. A lot of modems, a lot of modem sound card combos, which I won't really talk about that much because they're not that interesting, in my opinion, and it's my channel, damn it. Here's one that I thought was really cool. This is a floppy printer serial Winchester drive controller. Winchester drives are something I don't have any experience with, but I know that they're from another age. They're from, I would assume, the early 80s. And yeah, it's the only thing I have that has the word Winchester on it, and I just thought that was the coolest friggin' thing. Now also, I think I have some other cards that are like this, but these contacts on these ISA, on the pins here, I don't know how to explain it. They're shorter than the normal ISA card pins. Like the gold contacts don't go all the way up, they only go like 7/8 of the way up. Maybe 2/3 of the way up. It's hard to say exactly, but it's interesting. Winchester drive is an old name for a hard drive. Is that just it? Like, they didn't, the term hard drive hadn't been coined yet? Or it was like a type of hard drive? Because I know it's a hard drive. But is there anything special about it? So I got that one. Oh, I guess I didn't list the other one I was looking for. This is the hell was it? A VGA Wonder 16. It's a very interesting card. Yeah. So it's got this connector on the top, or this edge connector, maybe? It's got that on the top. I don't know what you would ever connect to that. Maybe another video output. But it's already got 3 on there, so I don't know. It's got a 15-pin video output, a 9-pin for, I guess, CGA or EGA graphics, and it's also got... Now, I struggle to remember what these are called. It's not an S-video port. It's got more pins than that. It's a Vivo port, but from a long time ago, before that's what it was used for. I don't know. I'm very mesmerized by this card all the time. Every time I look at it, And it's got the type of circuit board is different than, you know, what you would normally see, where it's all really shiny and you can kind of see the reflection there. This one doesn't have any of that. I mean, I guess it has a little bit. The whole thing is reflective, but it's got a little bit of a matte finish to it. Like almost a cloth-like texture to it. It's very bizarre, and my memory expansion card, my Apple IIgs, has the same kind of texture. I assume it's just an early PCB that they made in a different way. But yeah, this is, it says VGA Wonder V3M 1.05. And there's two chips on there. One says even, one says odd. I don't remember if I was able to find anything about this online, but it's a very, it's the one card in this box that just kind of interests me for reasons I don't know. Very cool. Okay, the goal was to store 30 megs and access it in 30 milliseconds. 3030 was the name of a Winchester rifle. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's actually clever. Bus mouse port. Was that referring to that other port on the video card? What else? Lots of serial cards. Nothing that interesting. Here's a network card, an Ethernet card from '95 that also has that 15-pin connector on it. That has a name, but I don't recall what it is. Basically an early type of Ethernet, kind of like the BNC connector that you would put on there. I think this is a Crystal audio card. No, it's an Aztec card. That's not the one that I thought it was, though. AUI. Okay, that acronym sounds really familiar. You know, to be honest, I think most of these are modems and serial cards. There's another Ethernet card. Ooh, that's a video card. Ooh, that's something different. What are you? Huh. Talk about this one in a second. I think the bottom is mostly network and non-interesting sound cards. I really need to go through and just get rid of most of them. Some of these are of interest, though. I have something with an OPL3 capability. And yeah, I store my cards this way. Get over it. I know it's not right, but who the hell cares? They're mine. And as reckless as that sounds, all of them still work that I've tested so far. So this is... I think I remember a video about this on... yeah, that was a Packard Bell sound modem. This one right here, or I've got two more. I think this one as well, maybe. The green one. This says M-Weight. Oh, this is an IBM one. Yeah, this one, I believe, is the compact one. I can't read it, though. I'm very blind right now. Alright, so I don't remember where I learned about these. Maybe it was... Oh, was that broken? It's not broken. So maybe it was LGR, Lazy Game Reviews. He was talking about these maybe at one point. So it's another video card, and it has this edge connector on here. But it's... I don't know where I'm going with this. Basically, it's a video card that has a Western Digital controller on it. that's weird, right? I remember learning about these and what their purpose was or something. It totally escapes me right now. It's a pretty old card. I think it's from like 93, 92. But yeah, Western Digital chip on there. That was very interesting to me when I learned about them, because Western Digital is, of course, you think of them for hard drives and storage, not video cards. See if I can find a model on this baby. I have a serial number. That's not helpful though. The Western Digital chip. It's a WD90C30-LR. It's got a date code of September of '92. Western Digital made the Paradise brand of video cards. That's probably where I knew it from. That must have been it. So yeah, kind of a relic from another time. A Western Digital controller on a video card. Alright, we're probably going to go for another 10 or so minutes. I mean, it'll be an hour and a half at that point, and that's quite a long time. And my throat's getting dry, so I think I'll end it in a couple minutes. So get in any last questions or comments, things like that, let me know. I'm trying to think of other things to show you. I don't know. Want to see my coaster? Here it is. It's what I put my drinks on. It's an 800K floppy disk that went bad, and I've now used it so much and spilled so much drink on it that I can't even... Ooh, it's kind of gone. Ooh, that was gross feeling. There. That hasn't moved in like years. Should probably put my drink on it. Do I own any IBM ThinkPads? I've owned a lot in the past, and I think I only own one now, and I'll show you it. It's an IBM ThinkPad 350 or 365 XD. God damn it. Oh my god, it's so heavy. Is this the right one? Yes, 760 XT, not whatever the hell I said. And it's in great shape, it actually works, and the battery does hold a charge. I don't know why I expected it to right now. But yeah, it's got the pop-up keyboard and everything. It's in really good shape too. It's got a big screen. I think these came with two sizes of screens maybe, and this is the larger of the two. I could be wrong in saying that, but I think I saw another one with a smaller screen on it. And this is one of the few IBM ThinkPads that I've owned that isn't totally disintegrating on the outside. Like this little foam spot on the bottom, it still has spring to it. It doesn't just kind of stick there and then, you know, never retain its original shape. I don't think there's any cracked plastics on it. And, oh, the one thing that I have that goes, or that happens to all of them that I've owned, is that if you try to clean it, and I have since stopped cleaning all ThinkPads and all vintage computers because of this, the palm rests, whatever kind of semi-rubberized, kind of soft-touch plastic coating they have on there, turns to gum. It's awful. I had a 7 something 740, I don't know, a bigger laptop, a little bit newer, and I tried to clean that thing, and this was 5 years ago, before I even knew a lot about those laptops. I tried to clean it. I'm like, wow, it's still really sticky, let's keep cleaning it. And I cleaned it for 10 minutes and ended up completely ruining the palm rest. It was unfortunate. Yeah, 760 XD, great machine. I love it a lot. I have owned in the past a 365. A couple of them, actually. One with a 4 gig drive, one with a 6 gig. A couple other ones. I sold them all on eBay. I still have pictures, but I can't be bothered right now, to be honest with you. I do like ThinkPads a lot. They are very well built. They're just good machines. I really like them. Because at this age, most laptops, and ThinkPads included, but not so much the ThinkPads, they start to get a bit brittle. And if you've ever opened up an early 90s laptop, you usually can't, do this and have it stay, like, perfectly still. I mean, it's wiggling on my lap right now, but it's pretty still. Usually, you'll hear it creaking, and you'll see the plastic bending, and then you'll move it back here, and the screen flops down, or you move it here, and it flops on your hand. And for that reason, I like ThinkPads, older ones, because they always seem to hold up a lot better than other laptops of the time period. So I'm going to end it here. Thanks for watching. If you're watching it as a recording, leave some comments, and we'll see you in the next stream or the next video.